Hey y'all, and welcome back to another episode of the Cult Cinema Circle podcast. My name is Jesse, and I'll be your host. So today, we're going to be going over what I watched in the month of April of 2024. So, not that I watched something every day of the month this month, but I did get to watch a few different fun things. I actually have some upcoming appearances on some podcasts coming up, so be on the lookout for those. I'll share them as they come. But yeah, let's get started. So to start off the month, which was April Fool's Day, of course, I decided to go back to an oldie but a goodie. I watched April Fool's Day from 1986. So if you don't know what this movie is about, it's about a group of 8 college friends gather together at an island mansion belonging to one Muffy St. John to celebrate their final year of school. Soon they begin to fall victim to an unseen murderer over the April Fool's Day weekend. But nothing is as it seems. So this movie has it's got Amy Steele in it from Friday the 13th Part 2, and also Deborah Foreman, who was in Valley Girl, and she's in this movie, and, 80s movies and stuff. You also have some cute-looking guys as well. You have Griffin O'Neill, people would know from, he's been in a couple, he's actually Tatum O'Neill's, literal brother, and Ryan O'Neill's son. But yeah, and you got a few different folks. Who's the one guy who's in, Thomas F. Wilson. He's Biff from Back to the Future. Would you believe it? I haven't seen any Back to the Future movies, so maybe I need to put those on my list to watch. But no, I like April Fool's Day. Yeah, it's like a little fun 80s slasher thing. Everything is not as it seems, but it is a fun little time. And if you haven't ever watched it, I definitely give it I recommend. If you want to get into that. Then the next day, I decided to watch, because it was free on Vudu, Fandango, I decided to watch Shriek If You Know What I Did Last Friday the 13th from 2000. So this movie is pretty much in the vein of Scary Movie, and I watched it also because I will be doing an episode on Not Another Teen Movie in a little bit, so be on the lookout for that. But I wanted to watch some parody movies because I was going to be doing that episode, and so I was like, okay, let me do this. So yeah, it's pretty much this actually was, I think, shot before Scary Movie actually was released and all that, although they came out the same year. This one was direct to video though. But I gave it a 2.5. I thought this was going to be really, really bad, but it's not the worst parody movie. I mean, it's very on the nose, obviously, but I don't think it's the worst thing. I mean, your mileage will vary, I guess. It's got some people Tiffany Thiessen's in it, Tom Arnold, Julie Benz from Jawbreaker and Buffy and all that. She's in there. Simon Rex is there. It's a whole thing, y'all. Yeah, it's crazy. Alana Ubach's in this movie. Where the hell was she? Also the mom from the Partridge Family's in it for a little bit. It's fucking crazy, but it was free on Vudu, so I decided to watch it. I wanted to get some experience with other parody movies. I like a parody movie here and there. The first few Scary Movies aren't the worst thing. They're very dumb, but they're all right. This is very, very dumb. And then also even Airplane is kind of fun. But then there's diminishing qualities in some parody movies. See Epic movies, superhero movie, date movie, all those. But yeah, so that's what I watched on the 2nd of the month. Then on the next day, because it was on my to be watch list, I decided to watch a little movie from 2018 called Assassination Nation. This was directed by Sam Levinson, who, if you don't know who that is, he is the son of Barry Levinson, who actually Baltimore guy. Hey, But Barry, he directed Diner, this old movie from the 80s, and he's done a couple different things as well. But he has his son, Sam. He's most well known for doing Euphoria on HBO, but he also did The Idol as well, with Lily Rose Depp and The Weeknd. And yeah, this was, I think, his first movie he did. So this movie is about a high school senior named Lily and her group of friends. They live in a haze of texts, posts, selfies, and chats, just like the rest of the world. So when an anonymous hacker starts posting details from the private lives of everyone in their small town, the result is absolute madness, leaving Lily and her friends questioning whether they'll live through the night. So this movie has, like, Odessa Young is the lead of it. It also has Hari Neff in it as well. Abra is one of the friends as well, and then Sookie Waterhouse. I almost said Sookie Stackhouse, but no, that's from True Blood. But yeah, she's in it as well. Tiana from The Princess and the Frog, Anika Noni Rose, she's there. Coleman Domingo, just nominated for an Oscar, is also there as well. Maude Apatow, Bella Thorne. I'm just going over the cast list at this point. But no, it was a good time. I actually liked it. I just said, like, girls doing just girly things, you know? Yeah, it's this movie is one where it has, like, trigger warning upon trigger warning and all that, so it's definitely not for the faintest of heart, if you will. But shit, if you're listening to my show, I don't know if you're that sensitive, but whatever. But I liked this. It had a good amount of intensity to it. I thought it was very aware of what it was trying to say. And I was really down with it, to be honest. And it's very aesthetic. Wow. It has a very certain aesthetic to it, and I liked it. Yeah, you know, and it's a recent movie. It's 2018, but I really enjoyed it personally. So yeah, I gave it a 4, little heart. You know, it was a good watch. I was waiting for it to stream somewhere because I didn't want to pay for it. So I was like, you know, you obviously want to get it for free first. But yeah, and then the next movie I watched is actually going to be coming up in a couple days, actually, or you'll already have seen it, I guess, from when you're hearing this. I'm recording this a little in advance because, you know, I'm busy. But yeah, I watched Idle Hands, which just came out, I think, yesterday, from when you're hearing this. So go listen to that as well. I had Michael Varrati on. It was great. He was his peach. But yeah, Idle Hands, if you don't know, it's celebrating its 25th anniversary. This is a movie that is about Anton, played by Devon Sawa. He's like this kind of slacker stoner character. His hand becomes possessed by the devil as killing people in his town, and he's got to, like, try to stop it. You also have his friends Mick and Penub, played by Seth Green and Eldon Henson respectively. He has a crush on Molly, his, like, across the way neighbor, played by Jessica Alba. So yeah, it's like a fun little horror comedy movie. Go listen to the episode I did on it, but I just thought it was a really fun little movie. I gave it a 3.5. I definitely said Mick and Penub are, like, definitely gay for each other in a way, even though this movie, I mean, your mileage will vary on whether you like it or not, but I personally like it. Yeah, I just think they're completely gay for one another, but that's just me. I do also love Undead Seth Green. Seth Green's just one of those people who I just like what he's in a fair amount of the time. You know, and he's kind of like a really good part of what he's been in, even if the movie itself is kind of not great. Like, I kind of want to watch him in this movie I think he produced or something. It's called Changeland. He, I think, I don't remember who's in it except for him, but, like, I think it's some of his friends probably. But they went to Thailand, I think, for it. And I don't know. It's been on the streaming a little bit, so I'm kind of like, maybe I'll pull up on it. I don't know. Anyway, also Notice Me, Randy, you're so goddamn hot. Randy's character is Jack Noseworthy's character. We talk all about that in the episode and how much I love Jack Noseworthy because I think he's a great actor. Yeah, he's very hot in this movie. And also, really, Devon Sawa is that, like, you know, horror dude. Like, what a king. But yeah, I really like Idle Hands. It was on Pluto for a while. I don't know where it is right now because you're hearing this on the 1st of May. So, you know, go look up on Just Watch if you can find it somewhere. You're going to find it probably in April, like streaming around. It was on Pluto, like I said. You'll probably find it like around the spooky season as well. So, you know, if you don't want to pay for it, I totally understand. But, you know, maybe wait for it to stream if you want to, if you don't want to pull up and open your purse. I get it. Then the next movie I watched was actually it was for a upcoming appearance on a show I'm going to be doing soon. You'll hear more about that when it actually comes out. But I watched Sugar and Spice from 2001. This is a movie that was directed by Frances McDougall. She didn't really do that. Sounds like such a fake name, by the way. She's the one who she's Australian actually, and she directed Cowbells with the the Mashaka sisters, I think. It's cinema is what we have. This was also written by Lona Williams. It's not credited to her because she took her name off of it because she was like, fuck this is completely different. But yeah, so Sugar and Spice, if you don't already know, this is about Jack and Diane. I know, but Jack, played by James Marsden, we'll get to it. And then Marley Shelton is Diane. They get pregnant and they're kicked out of their house. So they gotta get in this like grubby little apartment that they can get. And then Diane gets the bright idea to try to rob a bank, and her nice little cheerleading friends help her to do that. It's a fun time. Like, I like it. You'll hear more about that in the episode I did on it, where we did a double feature with this. Actually, it was super fun. But yeah, I will say James Marsden. So he is a really, really good himbo in this movie. Love that. It's what a shame that he wrote a letter of support for a gross pedo. Blah. Like, anyway, sorry, but he was still very good in this movie. I will say that, but I don't like supporting people like that. So, find a way to watch this. Like, it was free on YouTube. So, I mean, shit, like, that was cool. But, and there's other good people in it. Of course, you have, like, Rachel Blanchard. You have Mina Savari, of course. And, like, Marla Sokoloff and all this. So, a lot of them are really, really great. Kenny from Scream, the cameraman that gets killed, he's in it. Like, it's a fun time. I like it. Also, yes, Lisa watching Wild Things. Yeah, because Jack gets he gets a job at a video store, and Dustin Hoffman's like kids there or whatever. Anyway, but like he and the kid from the Mystery Files of Shelby Woo is there as well. They both work with him. But anyway, so Lisa, who's Marla Sokoloff, who's kind of telling us the whole story, she's like renting videos or whatever. One of the videos she rents is Wild Things, and I just thought that was fun. But yeah, so yeah, Sugar and Spice, it's a fun time. Again, compromised vision from Lona Williams, so she took her name off of it, but I still think it's a fun one. I'm going to do it on the show at some point. I just don't know when. I do have a fun guest for that, though, so I want to do that for sure. Then the next movie I watched was because of a little, I guess it's a 30 years, Jesus Christ, year anniversary. I did The Crow. I watched The Crow from 1994. This is on Paramount Plus currently. It looks really, really nice on there. And I'm doing this because I do have an upcoming episode about it as well. I just have to actually edit that. But, hopefully I'll have already done that by the time you're hearing this, but we'll see. But you'll see that come out in just a little bit. I really do think this movie is so beautiful to look at. The 4K looks pretty good on like Paramount Plus. The story's pretty simple though, obviously, but it's very effective. And it's giving goth looks for days. So of course I can get behind that for sure. If you don't know what The Crow is about, it's about Eric Draven, played by Brandon Lee. His fiance Shelley is killed by this like gang of criminals, and then he pretty much comes back to life, and he exacts revenge on the people that killed him and his fiance. And it's a comic book movie. It was based off of a comic book, and really very much a deep personal story for the author of that said comic book. But I think it's such a well done story, and I think it's just kind of a classic one. We will talk about that more in the episode with the guests I have, and then also talk about the remake that we think of as well. I don't have high hopes for it personally, but that's just me. Anyway, but yeah. So then the next movie after that I watched was a little movie on Netflix called May December. I finally got around to this. It was from last year. I just said that it's two powerhouses in a movie. Like, sign me up. You know, I only had so much to say about it. If you don't know what May December is about, so it was Oscar nominated technically. It didn't end up winning anything, but that's okay. So 20 years after their notorious tabloid romance gripped the nation, a married couple buckles under pressure when an actress comes to do research for a film that she's doing about their past. So this is Julianne Moore playing this lady. What's her name? Oh, Gracie. So Gracie is like Mary Kay Letourneau, pretty much. You then have Joe, who is Charles Melton. Fantastic in this movie, by the way. He's very good. And she was his... so it's not a teacher thing in this movie, although it is pretty much based off of Mary Kay Letourneau, who has since passed away. But, like... This is where, not a super spoiler or anything, but Gracie was actually like working and or managing a pet store, and they hired Joe as like kind of like minor help or whatever, like literally as a kid, like as a teenager, and then they end up like getting together, and then like they end up literally having children together, and they're in this whole position. Anyway, Elizabeth Berry is Natalie Portman in the movie, and she is playing this like she's gonna be playing this role in like a... We find out it's, I think, like a Lifetime-ish type movie, I guess. But no, it was a fun time. I liked it. There's all three of these actors who are kind of our lead actors, really. I think they did a really good job, personally. I gave this like a 4 in the heart. All of it just like, you know, it's Todd Haynes. So Todd Haynes, for those who don't know, like he's done this movie. He did like Carol, he did Velvet Goldmine, Far From Heaven, all this stuff. So he's used to doing stuff that's kind of like over the top melodramatic and stuff like that. So it doesn't surprise me that this also has that as well. But yeah, I personally liked it. Like I didn't really mind it. And yeah, I liked it. So go pull up on it if you like, you know, a melodrama that, you know, is kind of like silly, and I don't know, it has like a certain level of, you know, awareness to it. Like I liked it personally. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it for, you know, people who are interested in that. Then a couple days went by because I was just tired. I didn't feel like watching anything, or I was just busy doing other things. But I did watch the next thing I watched after May December, I guess, was The Virgin Suicides from 2000, I guess, although it says 1999. That was because the Cannes Film Festival premiered it in 1999, but then it wide released in April, I think, of 2000. I did watch this for podcasting purposes because I will be doing an episode on it soon. I'm very excited about that. I had a great guest for it, and we talked all about it. It was really fun. And I also read the book to this as well, y'all. Like, I read books for y'all. And so, but yeah, this movie looks really good. Like I own the 4K of this, so like it's not that I don't think it's a pretty movie. Of course I do. I just said that, but like the story is very okay. I mean, I guess for me, I would rather this come from someone like Sofia Coppola than like some man personally, because I don't think a man could do justice for this story, really. And if you don't already know, you'll hear about it in the episode, but that was going to happen until Sofia was able to actually kind of take over and be able to direct this. Her stuff is hit or miss for a lot of people. This is not a miss for me. It's not a gigantic hit for me either, but like it's a hit for me personally. It's a toot, if you will. I do like it. I do want to watch Priscilla. That's been on my watch list for a little bit, so I'll get around to that. I don't love Marie Antoinette. Maybe I need to watch it again, but like I wasn't like blown away or anything like that. So yeah, but Virgin Suicides, it's a good time. I'm assuming if you're a girl, you know, give it a watch and see if you like it. Your mileage will vary on it for sure. There are some women who hate this movie, and then there's some women who are like, oh my god, this is fucking great. And then also like, you know, guys as well, especially like maybe gay guys as well. I don't really know how straight guys feel about this movie really, but like, and then also the book like was sort of boring personally for me. As I stated, I think last month, I did read Election as well, and I read Virgin Suicides in conjunction with that pretty much. And Election was way more of a fun time personally to me. This was a little bit of a slog to read. So, I mean, Jeffrey Eugenides, who's the author, he's perfectly good at, constructing the prose that he does, but like it's so long-winded to me a little bit, where I'm just like, bitch, this is like 200 something pages or whatever, right? And there's literally only 5 chapters. Like, it just goes on and on and on, and I don't know why. I don't know why they don't break it up a little bit more, but that's a personal thing, but whatever. Anyway, but yes, so then the next thing I watched after that was actually I ended up watching Grease 2 from 1982. And so here was the thing. So I think I tried watching this like earlier in the month because it is on Paramount Plus currently. But then I got a little bored and I turned it off. Then I ended up going back to it, and then I ended up watching it again. So I actually gave it a chance, and I really enjoyed myself with this. I gave it a 3.5 and a little heart. If you don't know what Grease 2 is about, so by the way, the Virgin Suicides, if you don't already know, it's about these girls are in Grosse Pointe, Michigan, the Lisbon sisters, and they have these parents played by James Woods and Kathleen Turner. You have some of the girls who are played by like Kirsten Dunst as Lux, and like AJ Cook is one of the Mary. She's one of the people in there. And pretty much it just follows their kind of restrictive upbringing a little bit, and how they actually, over the course of a year, end up dying of suicide. So that's what that is, if you couldn't tell from the title. But back to Grease 2. So Grease 2, if you don't already know, is obviously the sequel to the very hit popular musical movie Grease. And so this is about... it's still the Pink Ladies, and it's still the T-Birds. So Adrian Zemed is like the leader of the T-Birds, and then Michelle Pfeiffer is the leader of the Pink Ladies, and then Maxwell Caulfield's there, him from Empire Records. But he's there as Sandy's cousin, I guess, even though he's literally British and not Australian whatsoever, but it's okay. This was directed by actually the choreographer of the original movie, Patricia Birch. I will say this, so like I said, I gave it a 3.5 and a heart. I think for me at least, and I'll do episode on this probably, because this is very much a cult movie. You could argue that Grease kind of is too, but like I think this one is definitely a cult movie, so I will definitely do it. But the thing is that I am actually not that I'm not split either way. You can definitely tell that there's some people who really hate Grease and they love Grease too, and then vice versa, people who really love Grease and don't love this movie a whole lot. I'm really in the middle, and that's just not my pussy answer, really. Like, literally, I'm just like, no, I feel the same about both of them, really. I don't think one is like categorically better than the other, really. I think they're both perfectly fine. Like, and I'm a musical dude. I like a musical here and there, but like this for me, it's right in the middle. Like, I think I like this a little bit more than Grease, just a little bit, but it's because, bitch, they are just dancing, bitch. And it's like, and there's just like some fun things in here. Of course you have of course, like Michelle Pfeiffer's there, Maxwell Caulfield, who's just so beautiful. He's so cute. Judy Garland's daughter's there. Like, Lorna Luft is there. Literally Pamela Adlin's in there a little bit. Bobby Hill, like, what the hell? But it's a good time. And, there's like some returner people as well. We love that Dee Dee Cohn's there. We love that like Eve Arden's there. Good times. So, it's a fun time. I enjoyed myself watching it. I did watch Grease last month because I was planning to watch Grease too, because I was like, okay, let me do this. But yeah, I thought it was a fun time. So yeah. And then the next thing I watched was The Flintstones from 1994. I almost said 2000. But The Flintstones, if you don't know, so I'm going to be doing an episode on this probably in May sometime. So sometime this month. I'm going to be recording that probably actually this weekend. coming up. So, but yeah, so that'll be fun. This is definitely a childhood movie of mine. So this is about the Flintstones. It's about Fred Flintstone and his wife, Wilma Flintstone. And then they are like neighbors who are a Betty and Barney Rubble. And Fred and Barney, they work at the local like quarry or whatever. And yeah, some shit goes down. So like, Fred is trying to help Barney along with like helping him and his wife adopt a kid a little bit. There's also like this promotion that goes on at their job, and Kyle MacLachlan and like Halle Berry are being the evil ones in this movie. It's a whole thing, y'all. Very in the vein of like something like of course the cinematic art that is the Brady Bunch movie, but also like something even like Addams Family Values a little bit. It maybe doesn't get to that level of camp like that. There is a little bit of it, and I do appreciate that. I do like this movie. I gave it a 3.5 and a heart. And I do overly like it. Like, overall I do enjoy it. And so I think it's a good time at least. So yeah, I ended up watching it because I will be doing an episode on it soon. So yeah, because it is celebrating 30 years this year. So I, of course, had to do this. And this was something I definitely watched as a kid. So I want to revisit it for sure. Then the next thing I watched was from, it was probably the next day, I think, or something like that. It was actually because Men Who Like Movies. So Clayton, who was on my Ravenous episode, and then Sean, who will be upcoming guest on the pod as well. They actually did an episode on this movie, The Tunnel, with Mary Beth McAndrews, who I enjoy their content as well, editor-in-chief of Dread Central. They have Scarred for Life with Terry Mesnard. So yeah, The Tunnel, if you don't know, so this is an Australian found footage movie. So it's actually currently on Shudder right now, but you can find it for the free, I think. And it's pretty much about like in Australia in 2007, there was like this drought stuff going on, and the state government was going to try and do some bullshit to try to get like more water or whatever. And anyway, they have these tunnels like under the city, and it was like a whole thing. Like it was pretty much like trying to use these. But then the issue that comes about is that people who are currently experiencing homelessness end up using those tunnels as like a way to, be able to not be exposed to the elements. Anyway, so that is like a whole big thing in this movie as well. But the big thing is that these people who are these journalists who are deciding to do like a investigation of this cover up of like the government covering up like pretty much kicking homeless people out of these tunnels pretty much, I guess. Yeah, there's a lot to this, if anything. It does go pretty quick. It's like only 90 minutes, but there's a lot crammed in those 90 minutes personally. That doesn't mean it's a bad thing though, but I will say like, I did enjoy my watch of this. It is a very, it's not like a boo gotcha kind of a thing, but it's definitely unsettling, I think. And it was a good time, and I liked listening to the episode on it as well. I thought it was a good and enjoyable little horror movie, little found footage movie. And you kind of have to be in the mood for a found footage movie as well, for you to actually like it, I guess. But this one I thought was a good time, and I'm glad it was also on Shudder, so I could like watch it without ads and stuff like that. So that was a good time. Oh, then the next thing I watched it's the continuation of another movie I saw a couple months ago, and that is Planet Terror. So if you don't know, Planet Terror and Death Proof are the movies that are in the Grindhouse movie, which was Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez. So this movie, Planet Terror in particular, it's about these two doctors who are married, actually played by Marley Shelton, hey girl, and Josh Brolin, James Brolin's kid. Pretty much what happens is that some shit goes down with the military, and there's like this gas that like turns people into pretty much like fucking gooey ass zombies or whatever. Anyway, so there's some shit that goes down. You got Rose McGowan in this movie playing Cherry Darling, who's like a dancer. She's go-go dancing, but then she's like trying to get out of that life, and then fucking she loses a leg and she gets a machine gun for a leg. It's a whole thing. Freddie Rodriguez is there playing El Rey, who he's fun. He's from 6 Feet Under and Can't Hardly Wait and stuff like that. Just a fucking crazy ass movie. I just said like, this was a film, okay? It's all the more heartbreaking that I also, in the meantime, have been listening to Rose McGowan's book Brave, and if you don't already know, she and Robert Rodriguez were in a relationship for a while, one of which where he entered in it, pretty much cheating on his wife, which was a thing. Super fun, love that, but it's not great. And he didn't treat Rose, from what she has said, very well either. That book is like a fucking crazy thing. I mean, it's very interesting, and it kind of coincided with her like having her little like mini series called Citizen Rose, and you know, just a lot of shit going on with her and the Me Too movement and all that kind of stuff. But it's been a very interesting thing to listen to, at least audiobook wise. But yeah, it's gross to think like, you know, Robert Rodriguez was really a piece of shit to her, especially on this movie as well, because they were together when they were doing this. So, but yeah, with that being said, this movie is goopy and bloody. It's very okay to me. I gave it a 3. Like, again, I don't want my experience of having read like one of the Stars books that talks about how much of a piece of shit the director was to influence what I thought. But really, I mean, I kind of liked Death Proof a little bit more. I don't know why. I just kind of did. Like, maybe it was like by the end of it, like the women getting something back on Kurt Russell, you know what I mean? Or Kirk Douglas, whoever the fuck that guy was. It's either Kirk Douglas or it's Kurt Russell, right? I think it's Kirk Douglas or somebody. Who the fuck was in that movie? Now I gotta look. Hold please. Death Proof. Yeah, I think it was. There you go, Kurt Russell. That's who it was. I was like, who the fuck was it? It was either Douglas or somebody. Anyway, because I know Marley Shelton's in both the movies. And she was in Sugar and Spice. Look at that. But yeah, it was very okay. Like, it's fine. So then I actually, because I decided to use I think it was Canopy. Love Canopy, of course. I got some good stuff coming up on Canopy that I want to be watching. But I decided to spend 4 tickets, okay, because there's a ticketing system. You get 45 tickets a month on Canopy using your library card, and this was 4 of them. But I decided to watch a little movie called Pecker from 1998. This is a John Waters movie. So if you don't know what Pecker is about a Baltimore teenager named Pecker. I don't know what his first name is. We don't learn that, but he's played by Edward Furlong. And he has a little secondhand camera. He takes pictures of a bunch of shit of Baltimore and like all this sort of stuff. He becomes this like nationwide sensation. Like this lady played by Lily Taylor. She's like a art exhibitor and she's like, oh my God, I love your photos. We should have a gallery for you and blah, blah, blah. Like all this kind of shit. It was a good time. Like, I personally really liked it. This was a really good watch. It gets in, gets out. It's pretty short, which is nice. It's not the best John Waters movie in his oeuvre, but it's worth a rewatch. Like, I would watch it again. And honestly, Martha Plimpton in this movie, who is Tina, who is his older sister, so fucking funny. Christina Ricci's in this movie. She plays Shelley, who's Edward Furlong's girlfriend in the movie. It's such a good time. Good time. Brendan Sexton III's in it from Empire Records and Welcome to the Dollhouse and all that stuff. Like I said, Lily Taylor's there. Patricia Hearst, she's in there as well. Ming Stoll plays like the precinct captain, which is very fun. It was a good time. I liked my watch of it for sure. And it doesn't stream a whole lot of places, so good for Canopy getting it. I really appreciate that. So yeah, I just loved Tina in that movie. Hi, Mary. Welcome to Baltimore. 'Cause she calls all the gay guys Mary. It's very funny to me. Oh, she's just an icon. I love her. So then... Yeah, and I wanted to watch, but it was another 4 tickets, so I did not watch it. And I think it's actually coming to... it's coming to Criterion Channel this month, I think, for, not tickets. So, like, I'm going to watch The Apartment probably this month. So be on the lookout for what I thought of that, I guess. But, yeah, I want to watch The Apartment because I have never seen it. I know it's Billy Wilder. It's Shirley MacLaine. It's actually what... At some point, I'm probably going to do the movie Loser from 2000, which is an Amy Heckerling movie. Because I really like that movie, actually. It's not a bad time, but it's actually kind of a loose remake of The Apartment, if you don't already know that. So I kind of want to watch it as well. So, yeah, I've watched Loser. I kind of want to watch The Apartment and see what it's like. So we'll see. Anyway, off of that, but the next thing I watched after this was, in addition to what I had watched. So of course I watched Barbie last year. I was in the theater for it, but I decided to watch, because it's been on Peacock, it's been on my list forever, was Oppenheimer from last year. It's a Oscar award-winning movie. Cillian Murphy won the Oscar for it. Robert Downey Jr. won an Oscar for it. The whole thing, right? If you don't know what Oppenheimer's about, so it's pretty much the story of J. Robert Oppenheimer and his role in the development of the atom bomb during World War II and what came along with that. So I had to break this up over a couple days. I'm not going to lie to you. I said that I watched it on the 25th. I started this a couple days before that, and I had to break that shit up because I'm sorry. I could not sit there for 3 fucking hours and watch this whole movie. It was just too much. It's just and I've probably talked about this before, but I can't get into really, really long ass movies like that all the time. That's just not me. I just don't like doing that personally. The most you could get me is maybe Titanic, and I'm just oh bitch, what's gonna happen, but it is gripping. Okay, so I just could not completely watch this in a sitting, so I did have to break it up a little bit. I thought Florence Pugh was just serving in this movie. God, if I could be a bad bitch like her, I would just die happy. Oh, she's so good at this movie for the little bit that she's in it. I will say this movie is very beautifully shot. It's very colorful in a weird way. There is some good use of the cinematography and the color and all that stuff. And then of course having the color parts and then also the black and white parts as well. That's cool. And I want to watch something, aesthetically pleasing when I'm in a movie or when I'm watching it. It's a nicely shot film. I just think it's overly long. I don't think I would necessarily revisit it anytime soon. I'd have to read a literal Wikipedia article to figure out what the fuck was going on. I get it to a point. I don't remember everything from history class, but I get that he was in part he was a part of, developing the atom bomb that was then used on Japan in World War II. I get that. It's just, it took 3 hours to tell this whole story. What? I don't know. And then also, maybe it was because it was the time or whatever, but also it just felt there's so many men in this movie, and I'm a man. I don't just hate men all the time, but it was just so this did not have to be as long as it was. I feel it's a biopic. It's just not it's not, stupid and campy a little bit like Elvis is. Elvis tries to be serious though, but there is a level of whatever the hell's there. That movie's a whole hot mess anyway. This one obviously is sternly serious, and as it should be. And there are some very beautiful shots in it and all that, but it was a 3 for me. I wasn't blown away necessarily, but that's my opinion. Whatever. So yeah, that was my view on Oppenheimer. And I'm sure if I was to go back and watch Barbie, would I still love it, or would I think that it's just meh, it's okay? Who knows? But yeah, this one was very okay, but I wasn't blown away by it or anything personally. And then the next movie I watched after that was a little bit on my list. I've been meaning to watch it, and I finally got around to it. I watched Breakfast at Tiffany's from 1961, kind of like that song from the 90s, and I said, what about Breakfast at Tiffany's? All that kind of stuff. They watch a movie or whatever, look it up. But this is, of course, a very well-known film from Miss Audrey Hepburn's oeuvre. She plays Holly Golightly, who is captivated by this aspiring writer, Paul Varjak, who's moved into her building, being kind of like the... he's not a gigolo, but he is paid by a wealthier woman because he's a writer. And there's some romance going on. It's... so this movie, it's very visually beautiful. I like looking at pretty things. Okay, I do. Moon River, which is Henry Mancini. He, I think, won an Oscar for this, if I'm not mistaken. I don't know, don't quote me, but I think he did. But it was cool. It wasn't the worst movie. It's base for me. I'd recommend a watch of it if you've never seen it before. It's nothing to write home about necessarily. And I will say this too, so just learning some of the history of the movie. So this was a Truman Capote story. And they very much, because they kind of had to, they took out, any sort of queerness in this movie. If you don't already know, Paul does not exist in the book. This is written by a narrator, or an author, I guess, that is telling the story of this. And, someone's gay up in there. Like, the narrator's gay, I'm pretty sure. Holly is kind of this person who is also like a little bit on like the queer spectrum in a way, kind of, sort of. But that was all taken out. There really wasn't much romance in terms of this, but of course they had to make that in the movie. And it's just, there's a lot going on. But yeah, learning some of the history of this production personally just makes me groan. The yellow face in this movie is egregious, and it's just smelly behavior, personally. I understand it was 1961, and I get that it was like, whatever. I don't really care. Mickey Rooney did not need to be an Asian person, okay? And just the treatment was not great. And again, I understand it was a different time, but there's a reason why there are just some people who are like, wow, this movie is really fucking pretty, and I love that for it. But Jesus Christ, that racism, like, damn, it's just like, it's egregious. So again, fine time watching. It was like, all right. It was perfectly good. I get the girlies who, love Holly Golightly, I guess. I don't know. I kind of get it. She's very fabulous. I would have loved to have seen the initial pick for this movie, Marilyn Monroe. It would have been really great to see her in this, but baby was going through it at the time. So, I guess she couldn't have done it. And Audrey Hepburn is great and everything, but like, I feel like Holly Golightly is a little bit more of a hot mess, kind of, sort of. So whatever, what do I know? But anyway. And then I had like a little thing, just like watching a bunch of stuff today to kind of prep for this episode as well, that I wanted to get some stuff in. So I decided to watch a little movie that I was so vulnerable at sharing that I had not seen when I was on the Release Rewind podcast talking about Serial Mom with Mark and Brandon from Zombie Brando. I shared that I had not seen Death Becomes Her, and I had not seen it. So it was on Tubi, and it's not on Tubi anymore, I don't think, unless they revamped it. But if you don't know what Death Becomes Her is about, this movie is about Madeline Ashton, played by Meryl Streep. And she is friends with Helen, who's played by Goldie Hawn. They're like frenemies pretty much. And what ends up happening is that Madeline steals Helen's man. Helen becomes like this like overweight cat lady, I guess. I feel attacked. But, whatever. Anyway, she is decides to get it in her head that she wants to kill Madeline Ashton. Anyway, some shit goes on, man, and you got some weird like age-defying magic going on. You got Isabella Rossellini looking fierce in this movie. Jesus Christ Almighty! This is a Robert Zemeckis film, and got Bruce Willis in there playing Ernest. Like, this is a fun time. I had never seen this before. I was very familiar with like the fact that it's like kind of horror a little bit, but not really. It's more comedy than anything, with just some little horror elements in it. I think I heard it I think Scott from Movies That Made Us Gay, I think he may have said this before, but it's like the gayest episode of Tales from the Crypt, and it's very 100% that. It's just, but it's a fun time. Like, I did like it. I would absolutely own this. Like, it's so fun. I think everyone in it is like on all cylinders, just like they are fucking firing, man. Like, Bruce Willis is awesome in this movie. I love Bruce Willis here and there. Goldie Hawn's fantastic. Meryl Streep's fantastic. You know, it's a good time. So I'm glad I watched it finally. I won't go too much into this one because I've already talked about it before. Some of these were rewatches, like The Crow was a rewatch, and then Sugar and Spice was a rewatch as well, and Idle Hands and April Fool's Day. Although I don't know if I had talked about them on these episodes, so whatever. Anyway, but I did rewatch. I'm kind of in the middle of rewatching it again. Citizen Ruth from 1996. I'm actually going to be doing a little podcast episode about that on someone else's show, so I'll let you know about that when it happens. So it's going to probably be something this month. So be on the lookout for that, and then also be on the lookout for when I talk about Sugar and Spice in another movie. Again, I'm going to keep it under wraps, you know, for right now, but then you'll hear all about it. But yeah, Citizen Ruth, still iconic movie, still fucking love it. It's on Hoopla right now. Please go watch it. It's fucking great. Laura Dern's an icon. We love her. But yeah, good times. And then to wrap it all up, I decided to watch a little movie from this year. And it probably because This Ends at Prom is going to be covering this movie recently for May Musical Month that they do every year. I decided to watch the musical movie remake of Mean Girls from this year that is now on Paramount Plus. So if you don't know what this is, I mean, if you've ever seen Mean Girls ever, it is pretty much the musical movie version of that. Like, legitimately, like, that's all it is. But if you don't know, Katie Heron comes to school in America after being in Kenya for so long in Africa, and she gets taken in by this group, the Plastics, and she realizes just how mean girls can be to one another, and, you know, she tries to find her way through the cruel Serengeti that is fucking high school, I guess. So I will say, I mean, overall, I think I gave this at first a 3, and I still kind of think that a little bit. I oscillate between a 2.5 and a 3. I think I'm going to say a 3 for right now. It oscillates between a 2.5 and a 3 for me because, I mean, listen, I don't know what it is. Like, this is a fine time. You know, it's not the worst movie in the world to me, but also it's like, you will be hearing a Mean Girls episode sometime this year, and we'll talk all about it, because it is obviously celebrating its what is it, 20th anniversary? Yeah, 20th. Okay, I can do math, I promise. But anyway, so yeah, that's all fine and well and everything, but like, yeah, this movie was perfectly all right. There are some fun things in it. Obviously, Renee Rapp's amazing and like really, really good. I loved the new Karen that they have, Avantinka, I believe her name is. So fucking funny. There are some good things in here, like Moana, the character, the woman who does Moana, the girl, Jesus Christ, Aloli Cravalho, I believe. I'm sorry if I butchered that name, but she is Moana, to me. Chick from Senior Year is Katie Heron. Yeah, some of this, I'm just like, there's some cool stuff in here. I'm not gonna begrudge that. Some funny things here and there, but overall, I wasn't overly like that excited for it really. And it's like very okay to me, like really. And that's just because like when I look at it and I see it, I'm just like, yeah, no, I don't want to like just shit on it the whole time, obviously, but I will say that it's just something where, you know, they could have kept it. That's okay. It's not like, you know, well, it's not like a thing of like, for example, the Wicked movie. Okay, the Wicked movie has never happened before. You know, so it's not like you're taking this thing that has happened before. Yeah, that's what you're doing with Mean Girls, the musical, right? Is that we already had a movie that was done. You made a musical about it that was kind of successful, and then you turn it into a movie musical. Wicked the movie, for example, has been a Broadway show, one of the top Broadway shows for 20 goddamn years, and you're now getting a movie of it later this year that's broken up into 2 parts, one a year from each other. My ass will be up in the theater for that probably, but we've never seen that yet. We've seen The Wizard of Oz, obviously, but The Wicked is a different story technically, and I'm interested in that. That's cool. But yeah, so watch it if you want to. I think if you want to, go hate it and compare it to the original movie, that's fine. It's not that, though, so don't go in thinking that. Otherwise, you're just having a self-fulfilling prophecy in a way. If you want to do that, go off, sis. But, I didn't just want to do that. But, again, I oscillate between a 2.5 and a 3. It's very aggressively okay. I wish they had people who could I wish they had more people who could actually sing. Renee Rapp does more than enough to try to deal with that. But yeah, no, it's just watch it if you want to kind of a thing. So. But that's what I watched in the month of April, y'all. And as I stated already, I have, I'm still in the middle of kind of reading or listening to Miss Rose McGowan's book, Brave. So that's been harrowing as hell, talking about how she grew up in a cult, how she came to the United States, and then how she became in fucking Hollywood. It's a whole thing. So enter at your own risk with that one, I guess. And I have been meaning to continue to read I'm Glad My Mom Died from Jeanette McCurdy, but I have not. Oops. So I'll, I kind of just want to get the audiobook of it, because whether or not I'm going to come down and get around to reading it, really, it kind of depends. But, I am trying to be in my book era more, but, that's just what it is. But yeah, that's what I watched in the month of April, y'all. So, we're coming up on, you're hearing this in May. So as I stated, I'm probably going to end up watching The Apartment sometime this month. But I'm going to be watching a few different things, just trying to edit the stuff I need to for this month anyway. And, got some fun things coming up for next month, June. It's my birthday month, and it's also Pride month. So not that I have a whole lot of gay stuff coming up on the roster, really. I don't actually. But, it'll be a good time, if anything. So, yeah. But thanks for listening, y'all. Remember to follow me on social media, Cult Cinema Circle on Instagram. Twitter is Cult Cinecircle. Follow me on Letterbox, Jesse, Jesse, Kremp, Kremp, all one word. Email me at cultcinemacircle@gmail.com if you want to. Give me 5 stars, 1 to 2 sentence review, all that good shit. And yeah, keep it moving, keep it going, and I'll catch you on the next one. Take care. Bye.